Hello ladies and gentlemen and otherwise, what's up? My name is Devious and welcome to an Arknights video. Today I'm going to be addressing the WatchMojo top 10 practical units list because I had the idea to do a top 10 before I saw that video. I'm wanting to say I wrote the script like a day before it came out and didn't see it for a day or two. So I didn't copy them, but I want to address their list in relation to mine. And I'm just going to be going down the list real quick. I will, however, cover some units very quickly at the start that I agree with, and then I'll get to the gripes that I have. So, thanks for stopping by. Kick back, grab a drink, and enjoy. Let's boogie. Alright, so first on the list, I am going to be going over the units that I agree with. First and foremost, a little bit of a weird set, but Shaw and Rope are both pretty solid. We'll talk about Rope in a second. Shaw is pretty solid. She pushes enemies, which means you can shove them into pits, which gets insta-kills. That makes her extremely useful. Her talent is pretty good as well. It gives her a resistance boost, makes her a little bit more survivable. And I don't know why you would promote her to Elite 2, but it gives her even more resistance, so that's cool. Her skills, like I said, they push enemies in front of her. It's really useful. Really useful, and the only reason I don't use her is because I drew F-Eater or Feeder or Iron Eater or whatever her name is. So, yeah, good pick on Shaw. She's very useful. Rope, I have a little bit of a problem with, because you get Cliff Heart for free as a registration bonus, I think. And frankly, she's just better in every way. She does the same thing, which is pull units. I don't see why you would run Rope over Cliff Heart. So if they would have just said Cliff Heart, I would not even be mentioning this. Cliff Heart's a good pick. In certain areas where you can pull enemies into pits, then yeah, same thing as Shaw. She's extremely useful. If you place her correctly, she can be used as a delaying unit, which is also really nice. And she's really good for the specialist stage. So, yeah, I would say just run Cliff Heart instead of Rope. Or maybe you just want the cheaper option. Rope will do you just fine. So, fair enough on that one. Next on the list, I have a minor gripe about, which is why I'm adding her in beforehand, before I get to the actual complaints, and that is Orchid. You are going to max out Orchid fairly quickly, at least with potential, and she is super cheap to max out. So if you want the cheapest possible supporter for the slow, by all means, Orchid's fine, there's nothing wrong with her. But you are going to get people like Earth Spirit fairly quickly. And if you're lucky, which most people are going to be, you're going to get people like Praminix, Estina. Okay, maybe not Estina. Estina was a little weird. I should be using her more, if I'm honest. But honestly, anyone on this list will do fairly well as a supporter. I'll get to Deep Color in a moment. But yeah, if Orchid is pretty much all you got for supporters, she's fine. Okay, these two I'm going to be covering very quickly, very violently. I completely lost where I was for a second there. Shiryuki is amazing. And her and Amiya are pretty much the only ones that I fully agree with without any caveats whatsoever. Shiryuki is an AoE damage dealer, physical damage, and she can also do a little bit of arts damage when her skill is active. She also slows, so she's functionally a supporter as well. Great unit. If you have her, by all means use her, and you're going to get her if you recruit specifically for her. Hell, even if you don't, you're probably going to run into her. If you don't have her, though, run Catapult. She is very functionally close. She doesn't have the slow, but she does do the AoE damage, and it helps quite a bit. So, yeah, great pick on that one. And then let's talk about Amiya. Amiya's a great caster. You get a 5-star for free. There's no reason not to use her. She is fantastic. Highly recommend. All of her skills are useful in certain scenarios. Yeah, good pick. Okay, now we get into the not so great stuff. Let's talk about Deep Color. Deep Color is one of the most niche units I've ever seen. Let me tell you why. Her Tentacle Summoner ability allows you to summon tentacles, duh, into the map to block and do a little damage, and they are pretty nice, but you can't heal them except for global effects. And honestly, their damage is pretty subpar from what I understand, which leads me to say that it would honestly be better just to run a guard or another damage dealer. And yeah, because they take up a unit slot, you could just run another unit entirely and it would accomplish roughly the same thing. I would honestly say Gravel, who is a specialist that has a stupid fast redeployment time, is going to be better than Deep Color in most scenarios. She's just not that versatile, which is, for me, a massive negative to practicality. Next up on the list, let's talk about Matterhorn. So, 3 or 4 days ago, I would have said that it is pretty much pointless to run Matterhorn because you have units like Quora and Gummy that do much better in the Defender game. However, not that one. With the release of Chapter 5, we have a lot of units that deal resistance damage? No, we have a lot of units that deal arts damage. And I would highly recommend, if you already have him buffed up, then use him in Chapter 5 because of all the arts damage. Still, if you don't have him buffed up, I would say not to worry about it because Quora and Gummy are still probably a lot better in most situations. I haven't run into a situation where I thought, dang, if I had a lot more resistance on my Defender, I would have done better. It's just... he's very niche, so if you have the resources to use him during Chapter 5, there's no reason not to. But I prefer to run with other things, and honestly, because he's so niche, I would say you could probably just sleep on him and you'll be fine. And like I said, Gummy and Quora just do a better job in most stages, so I would focus efforts on them first. Okay, now I gotta be mean to the cute girl. Dang it. So, Bee Hunter is a good unit. Let me actually double back a little bit. All of these units are good in their own right. One is a little bit questionable, but I can still see use for them, so we'll talk about that in a moment. Bee Hunter requires a lot of support to get to practical levels, unless you are using her as a drop-in staller / light damage dealer. Even then, someone like Gravel is going to do better because she has a faster redeployment time, a massive defense boost, and frankly similar damage at first. Now Bee Hunter does amp up a little bit once you get her promoted to Elite 1 because of this right here. Every attack buffs up slightly. It does have a hard cap, but it is still pretty nice to see that extra damage. However, she only really shines when you get those support units in position, and that takes, like, I want to say 3 total unit slots for one unit to really shine. Yes, they have other uses. No, I don't care. This is a very advanced unit and combination. Therefore, I would say it's not very practical, especially for a newer player that is more likely to come across that list. Okay, now we get to the one that I'm going to go all out on. Very, well, maybe not very slight, but definitely a small volume warning. You have been thusly warned. Whose idea was it to put Doberman in this list? Seriously, do you guys even play the game? Okay, I'm done, I'm calm, all is well. Alright, here's my problem with Doberman. I keep saying you will be swimming in other 3 and 4 stars. Let me explain why I don't like Doberman. So let's take a look at this. 11 cost, double blocker, not great on attack, and decent trust bonus, has 2 range. This is why you would run Doberman. You can get a small attack buff for your 3-star operators. Now this is cool if you want to run a meme squad or an extreme low rarity squad, but that's basically for style points, and her skill supports that. Here's my problem. If you want a good double blocker that has good damage output, let me introduce you to Estelle. Estelle is a recruitment only unit. Just put in melee, guard, AoE, survival. You will get her eventually, I promise. And she does AoE damage. Doesn't have the range boost, but that's okay. because she does AoE damage. Her damage is pretty solid, a little bit higher than Doberman's, I believe. And in general, she's just much better because of the combination of the AoE and this self-healing backed up by massive attack buff. Yeah, I don't get why you would run Doberman. You know what? Let's do another one. Let me tell you about some Frostleaf. So, similarly, you can get her easily from recruitment, and you're going to get her through random pulls, more than likely. I slept on Frostleaf, and I am genuinely agitated that I did, because I ended up trying to buff her up and almost immediately pulled Lapland, which is basically the upgraded version. So, why would you run Frostleaf over Doberman? She has, at Elite 1, more range. I actually don't know if Doberman gets a range increase. No, she doesn't. So yeah, more range. She can freeze. Her base skill allows her to slow, and that's on auto. And her stats are frankly just better. So, better attack, better range, Papa John's. That just slipped out, I'm sorry. The point remains. You're going to get infinitely more value out of Frostleaf. Even if you don't upgrade her at all, she's still got the 2 sides that she can attack on. And she has the slow, which is going to help you a lot more. Still a double blocker. Barely more expensive, but who cares? She's got a lot more value. I do not see why you would run Doberman. I have no freaking idea. Alright, ladies, gentlemen, and otherwise, that has been it for this video. I'm not trying to attack WatchMojo or anything. I want to stress that. I just think that they didn't do too good of a job with the top 10, as evidenced by the amount of dislikes they got on that video. If they would have put a little bit more research in and actually played the game a little more, then yeah, okay, maybe you got your reasons, but it's very obvious that they barely put any effort into that because it was an ad. So, sorry guys, I calls them as I sees them. Ladies and gentlemen, and otherwise, if you enjoyed, drop me a like. If you did not enjoy, drop me a dislike, and please, by all means, leave me a comment letting me know how I can improve. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next round.